Hey guys, what's up? UDT here, back with another recreate tutorial video. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to recreate the Call of Duty blood splatter on your screen whenever you take damage, as well as regenerating health, which will then remove the blood splatter on your screen. So anyway, to get this video started, I'm going to just go ahead and just make a basic first-person character clone, which will just be my default character, and it's nothing too special. I'm going to call this Call of Duty health effects. Then open that up. Okay, so once you get in here, you're going to want to go ahead and find your character. In my case, it's the third person character. And then we are going to make our keybind, which in this case will just be 1. Now, if you're doing this with a game you've already set up and you already have shooting functionality, you would just simply have this as whichever way you're calling upon it. In my case, the way that I deal damage is just going to be pressing 1. And then we're going to make a variable. I'm going to call this health. We're going to make this a float. And then we are going to set that by to 100, which will be our default health value. I'm going to get set health here, and then I'm going to get my health, drag that out, and we're going to get a minus float. I'm going to set it to 10. We're then going to get a clamp float. Now I'm going to set the maximum of that to 100. I'll go over and explain what all of this does once I have everything set up. But now I'm just going to get it set up. So we're going to make another variable here. We're going to call this canGenerate. We're going to make this one a boolean. And we're going to set it to true by default. I'm going to set that. We're going to leave it unticked so it sets it to false. And then we are going to get a retriggerable delay. We're going to set that to 5 seconds. And we're going to set canGenerate again. I'm going to make it true this time. And then I'm going to comment this. I'm going to call it removes 10 health, sets generate to false, then after 5 seconds sets it back to true. Okay, so we're now going to make the functionality for our canGenerate that we have set up. So we're going to get a event tick, and then with this event tick I'm going to get a print string. Then I'm going to get my health and connect that just so we can see for now what our health is. And then we're going to make a branch. I'm going to connect canGenerate to that, and then we're going to set up our generate functionality here. So we're going to get, let's get a clamp again of type float. The value of this will be our health. And this time we're going to get plus because we're going to add health to it so we can regen. Go plus 10 and then we'll connect that. Our maximum will be 100 and our minimum will be 0. And then we're going to need to get a interp to constant, and we'll connect that to our target. Our delta time would be get world delta seconds, and our interp speed we'll leave at say 20 for now. And then we're gonna get our health, we're gonna set it and then connect it there, and then connect true. And that's it for this side of things. So I'm going to actually move this a bit so I can comment on it. I'm going to call this regen health at a constant speed. Okay, so I'll quickly explain what everything does now. So what's happening here is that whenever I press 1 on my keyboard, it then gets our health and minuses 10 health from it. And then it makes sure that it is within a 0, it makes sure that it's within 0 or 100. And then it sets our health to whatever number comes out of here. So let's say we pressed it 1 time, it would minus 10 health from it. And then because that's within these 2 variables, it would then add it. It would then set our health to that, which would then make it 90. And then it sets canGenerate to false and puts a retriggerable delay on it, which lasts for 5 seconds, and then sets it to true again. A retriggerable delay, the difference between this and a normal delay is it makes it so that every time it's called upon again, it resets it. So if this was just a normal delay, it wouldn't reset the timer like we want it to. And then down here in our event tick, we're simply just printing whatever our health is, just so for now we can debug and I can show you that it is actually working. and then it checks to make sure that can generate is true. If can generate is true, that means we can regenerate health. So it plays our regenerate health functionality, which gets our health, and then it adds 10 to it. It makes sure that it's within 0 and 100, and then it interrupts that to a constant. We actually need to plug in our health here. So what interp does is it gets these two numbers here, so in this case it'll be our target, which would be whatever this pops out, and then our health, which is by default set to 100, and then it slowly rises or decreases the number, in this case rising, until it reaches the target number, and it does that at a speed of 20. So it's just a way of making things go smoothly in between. You'll see when I show it to you later on. And then it sets our health to that. So now, if we come in here and I press nothing, you can see that it's spamming 100 over and over again because of the event tick that's print stringing our current health value. And then if I press 1, it puts us to 90. And I keep pressing that, and it will slowly lower my health, and then I'll get to 0, and I can't go below 0 anymore. And now if I don't press 1, and I just wait 5 seconds, you'll see that now my health goes up, and you'll notice it goes up really rapidly through a whole bunch of different numbers. It's not perfectly, so it's not going 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way up, which is exactly what we want, so it doesn't go up in chunks. Yeah, so now I'm going to add the blood splatter effect. So in the link, in the description below, there'll be a link where you can download the blood splatter overlay that I'm going to use. But I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop that in here now. Now this is what it looks like. You can see at the moment it's transparent, but it's not quite big enough. So we're going to go and make a UI now. Now to make this UI, you're going to right click user interface, widget blueprint, and we're going to call this WB_HUD. This would just be where you have all of your HUD elements. So if you already have a HUD made, you would simply add this as an image onto your HUD. But in this case, I'm just going to rebuild a new one because we don't have one. And then you would get your image from up here, right here, drag it onto your canvas panel. And then we're going to set the image to blood splatter overlay, which is the one down below in the description. And then we're going to make it an anchor point to the full screen. And then reset offset right and offset bottom. Now you'll notice it doesn't quite cover the full screen, so what we got to do is we got to set them both to 0, so now it fully covers it. And by anchoring it to the middle of the screen instead of just scaling it out normally, makes it so that if, say, someone's playing on a bigger screen, and this will scale with their screen size, or if they're playing on a smaller screen, it will scale smaller, so that it's always with the screen size of the player. Now, the way we're going to make this pop up and go away depending on the health will be opacity, so we're going to come under here and color and opacity. And then we're going to set A, which is your opacity value, to 0. And then we're going to make a bind. So we're going to go click on it and then create binding. I'm going to come up here in my functions. So I'm going to call this opacity to health. And then I'm going to make a bit of space in between them. We're going to get our return value and we're going to split the struct in of it. We're then going to cast to third person character. This will be whatever your character is called that you made all the other code in. So in this case, you can see at the top here, it's the person character. And then going to drag out, I'm going to get a reference to it. So I'm going to go get player character. And then from here, we're going to drag out and we're going to go get health. And then we're going to get our health. We're going to drag out. We're going to divide that by 100. We're going to drag out again. We're going to go minus. We're going to make sure that we drag it into the bottom pin, and then on the top pin we're going to enter in 1, and then connect that. So basically what's happening here is we're casting to our third person character, and then we're getting the health variable that we made inside of here, and then we're dividing that by 100. The reason why we have to do that is because your opacity value is between 0 and 1, so it's going to be something like, say, 0.5 or a number like that. It will never be higher than 1. So because our health is a variable of 100, if we were to plug that in without dividing it, it would constantly be set to full, which is not what we want, so we have to divide it by 100 so it becomes a decimal number. And then once we divide it, our health, because it'll always be at max, it'll always be 1, which means that no matter what HP we're on, it'll be set. So if you go into your game the second you've done it, you'll take no damage and it'll have the full blood splatter on your screen, which is not what we want. So we have to minus it by 1. And by putting into return value A here, that is your opacity 1, and then RGB is just your different colors. So we want to make sure that we set those to 1 by default, or else they will end up making the blood splatter look black. Okay, so once we're done setting that up, we now need to make sure that it actually displays on our character's HUD. So we come into our third person character, and then our event graph. I'm going to make a function here. I'm going to call this create HUD. And then we're going to come in here. Then we're going to drag out and we're going to go create widget. We're going to set the class to whatever you called it. So in my case, it's WB HUD. Then we're going to drag out from there. We're going to go add to viewport. Then connect that. Compile save and then come back to our event graph. Then find your begin play. Now, if you don't already have a begin play, then you can just make one by going event begin play, and then you can connect it to our function that we made here. So you can drag out with create HUD, and then plug that one in. Now, if for whatever reason on your event begin play, you're not able to do this and you need another way of dragging out, instead of trying to make multiple ones because you won't be able to do that, you can get a sequencer. So with the sequencer, what you're able to do is you're able to drag out multiple pins and you can make as many pins as you need. So that can be very useful, especially if you're doing something with an event too. But now that we've done that, what this will do is it'll make our HUD and then it will play the event begin play, which will then make it spawn. Is what we've done here is we've gotten it and we've added it to the player's viewport. So now when I come in, I'm at 100 health and you can see that it's not displaying. But if I press 1 to deal some damage to my character, you can see it displays a little, and as I take more and more damage, it gets brighter and brighter because the opacity becomes higher and higher. And then once I get to 0, it's now at full opacity, so it's got the full blood splatter effect on our screen. And as we regenerate health, it'll fade away. Now, if you don't like how long it takes you to regenerate health, or you want it to fade away quicker, you can come into your third person character, and then under your event graph, you can find where we did the interp constant, and just change this number. So if I was to set this number to 5, that would make me regenerate slower, so if I deal some damage. You'll notice now that once it starts going back up, it'll be a lot slower. So it takes a lot longer for you to regenerate your health now. But if I was to increase that to something like, let's say, 50, now when I take damage, I'll regenerate a lot quicker. So just give it 5 seconds, and then there we go. So now I regenerate my health a lot quicker. Anyway guys, that's it for this recreate tutorial. If you want to see anything else similar to this, like another recreate where I make a game mechanic from another game, let me know down below in the comments. Or if you need help with this tutorial or want to see me add anything onto it, then let me know and I'll be sure to get to you. But other than that, that's all, so see you guys.